Okay, we call the meeting to order. It's 6:30 p.m. on Monday, September the 28th, and this is the regular meeting of Municipal Council for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal for the month of September. And just a reminder, folks, that we have Steve Williams coming at about 7:30, 7:45 to provide some legal advice and some legal counsel. And so we'll attempt to get through our agenda so that we're prepared to go into an in-camera session at about 7:30, 7:45. Next item on the agenda, I'm going to call for approval of the agenda. Deputy Mayor Deschamps, I believe you have that motion.
Sure. Are there any amendments, or is it?
I think it's as printed.
Okay. So moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that Municipal Council approves the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. You heard the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And moving then to item number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures here this evening?
None by me. None here.
And under item 4, delegations and presentations, we have none this evening, so I'm proceeding to item number 5. Number 5A, the minutes of the special council meeting of August the 24th. Deputy Mayor, or Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, the Municipal Council receives and approves the minutes of the special meeting dated August 24th, 2020.
Thank you.
That's the minutes of the special council meeting dated August the 24th. Now, are there any errors or omissions in the minutes? Hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I'll deal with business arising at item number 6 on the agenda. So I'm at item number 5B, which is the regular council meeting of August the 24th. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh that Municipal Council receives and approves the minutes of the regular meeting dated August 24th, 2020.
Now, are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so then, at item number 5C, the special council meeting of August the 26th, Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron that this public council receives and approves the minutes of special meeting dated August 26, 2020.
Now again, are there any errors or omissions to be noted in the minutes? Hearing none, I'm about to move forward. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And so now, I'm at item number 6 on the agenda, which is business arising from any of those meetings, those 3 meetings. Does anybody have anything to bring forward as business arising? Hearing none? Hearing none, I'm about to move ahead. And the next item is item number 7A. These are committee minutes from various committee meetings that took place during the month. The first is the Public Library Board minutes of June the 23rd. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself, moved by Councillor Dillabaugh that Municipal Council receives the minutes of the Public Library Board meeting dated June 23rd, 2020.
And thank you very much. Just hold 1 second until I get myself organized a little bit better. Thank you. So, are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? And is there any business arising, any questions for the councillor? Hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Motion is carried. And now I'm at the minutes of the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance, for August the 10th. Now, I think, Rebecca, you've put a different set of minutes on our tables in front of us.
I did for that, as well as item 7F.
Okay, so these are just slightly revised minutes from those that were in the packages.
Correct.
So that's the ones that we'll be referring to if there's any discussion. So, Counselor Hunter, do you have the motion?
Yeah. Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance meeting dated August 10th, 2020.
Okay, now, are there any errors or omissions still to be noted? Hearing none, going to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, and so now moving on, the next will be the Port Management Committee minutes of August the 26th. And that will be Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Cameron. Municipality Council receives the minutes of the Port Management Committee meeting dated August 26, 2020.
Now again, are there any errors or omissions? Are there any questions to bring forward? Okay, hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And I'm going to turn now to 7D, the Community Development Committee meeting of September the 8th. And that would be Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Community Development Committee meeting dated September 8th, 2020.
So again, are there any errors or omissions here? Are there any business arising or questions for the councillor or for the deputy mayor? Hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right, so now we're at 7E, the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance meeting of September the 14th. And again, now that's Deputy Mayor, that's Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance meeting dated September 14th, 2020.
Thank you very much. Now, are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? Questions, if any? Hearing none. Discussion, if any? Hearing none. Vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so now we're at item 7F. And again, this is the Committee of the Whole Public Works, Environmental Service Facilities, September 21. And we see a revised set of minutes on our table tonight, slightly revised from those circulated in the package. Councillor Cameron, do you have the motion?
I do, thank you. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh. The municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services, and Facilities meeting dated September 21st, 2020.
Very good. Now again, are there any errors or omissions or discussion, if any, with those minutes? Hearing none, about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, so now I'm at the action and information items coming forward from those committees. And the first one coming forward is 8A. 8A, which is the rezoning of Heidemann Road. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Yes, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council proceed with rescheduling public, That municipal council proceed with scheduling a public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment at 1019 Hyman Road as recommended by the Community Development Committee. That was a struggle.
Okay, now any questions with that? Everybody understand what's happening here? Okay, no questions. I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so then, 8B is a severance application, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Yes, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council recommend in favor of severance B-77-20 with the condition that an environmental impact assessment be completed that demonstrates to the satisfaction of the township that there will be no negative impacts on the woodlands or their ecological functions as recommended by the Community Development Committee. And that municipal council supports the South Nation Conservation Authority's request to the United Counties of Leeds-Grenville that the following condition be included in the decision. Quote, the applicant provides a scoped environmental impact statement that confirms the extent of the significant woodland, describes a suitable building envelope, and demonstrates that there will be no negative impacts to the significant woodland or aquatic habitat from the proposed development.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, discussion if any on that item? And hearing none, vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I'm just gonna catch up here for a second. And then I'll be at 8C. And 8C is the Munisoft EFT extension application. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council authorize the purchase of the EFT extension application from Untisoft for $749 with first year of annual support of $150 plus non-rebatable HST, and fund the purchase with the modernization fund as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance.
Thank you very much. Questions if any with this? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And then I'm going to 8D, Safe Restart Agreement Funding. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh, that municipal council delegate authority to the CAO and treasurer to authorize the purchase of specific costs related to COVID-19 to an upset limit of $50,000 as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance.
Very good, thank you very much. Well discussed at the committee meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And then 8E is the Cardinal Water and Industrial Park Distribution System Financial Plan Update. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council, one, approve the attached updated financial plan for the Cardinal Water and Edgersburg Industrial Park Distribution Water System, and that a copy of the plan be posted on the township website with notice given advising the public of the availability of the approved financial plan. And two, direct staff to forward a copy of the updated financial plan to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing as required by the regulations. And three, direct staff to conduct a rate structure study for the Edgersburg Industrial Park Distribution System as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance.
Thank you very much. Again, well discussed at the committee meeting. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, through the chair to the CAO. Regarding item 3, direct staff to conduct a rate structure and so on. Once that rate structure is finalized, will that come back to council for approval?
So through the mayor, yes, it would be returned to committee for discussion.
Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Okay, I'd like to call the question on the motion before the table. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so now I'm at 8F, severance application Lockwood. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council recommend in favor of severance B 88-20 Lockwood as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities.
Okay, and this one again well discussed at the committee level. Further discussion, if any? Hearing none, to vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I'm going now to 8G, all-terrain and off-road vehicles on municipal roads. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council directs staff to consult with the Johnstown ATV Club and discuss recommendations in regards to a new all-terrain and off-road vehicles on municipal roads bylaw, as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services, and Facilities.
Thank you very much. So this just directs consultation as a result of some changing legislation. Is there any further discussion here?
None here.
Again, well discussed at the committee. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried. So the only thing that I would like to note as a result of this motion then is that the whole issue about all-terrain vehicles and off-road vehicles on our municipal roads, that whole issue will have to come back then to Administration and Finance with the result of the consultation. Do I have a correct understanding of that?
Mr. Mayor, the thought would be to return back to Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities.
Oh, that's where it came from?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
just for continuity.
yeah, mhm. Okay, so it is coming back, so
Yes.
we know the result of the consultation. Thank you very much. And so now I'm going to 8H, which is a question of setting fines for water theft. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps that Municipal Council direct staff to review bylaw 2013-69, pursue and recommend amendments to set specific fines to make the bylaw more enforcements with respect to the theft of water as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services, and Facilities.
Okay, I think we'll change that word to enforceable.
Okay,
Uh,
it is correct on that.
Yeah. And is there any further discussion here? Hearing none, vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. So now I'm at 8I, which is a motion to amend the meeting recording policy. Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps. Whereas the meeting recording policy bylaw currently requires the township to record and publish videos of Committee of the Whole and council meetings. And whereas the meeting recording policy bylaw is silent on the recording and publishing of the Community Development Committee meetings. And whereas recording and publishing the Community Development Committee meetings would increase the public outreach and increase transparency. Now therefore be it resolved that the Municipal Council directs staff to amend the meeting recording policy bylaw to record and publish videos of the Community Development Committee meetings.
Thank you very much. Now, is there discussion, if any, on this motion? Hearing none, a vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, and I'm really pleased to see this coming forward, especially now that the Community Development Committee is so heavily involved with the rezoning bylaw.
Yes.
And just the other day, I had another blistering email from somebody about the camper issue, accusing us of doing everything behind closed doors and nobody knows what's going on and why don't they know what's going on, and it'll be really a relief now to be able to say, hey, those minutes are being recorded, they're being up on YouTube, and so you can go and watch them. But one thing that's starting to bother me is that a lot of people are making their input to the new zoning bylaw by means of Facebook, email, and all other kinds of what I'm calling off-the-record participation. And I don't know that the committee or council has any reason to be influenced by what's happening off the record. I mean, this is supposed to be an open and transparent and public process. So you come here at the committee meeting and you make your presentation. That's open, transparent, and public. The things that you say on Facebook and an email to your friends and your blistering emails to the mayor or the councillors really are not part of the public and open and transparent process. So I'm glad that this is now becoming a published meeting, and I think it's up to those people with complaints and worries to step forward and make their voices heard publicly. So thank you very much, and moving on, and the item number 8J is the Fire Prevention Week proclamation, or is it a week or a month? But let me have a look here. Councillor Dillabaugh, you have the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron. Whereas the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Edwardsburg Cardinal. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas home fires killed 81 people in Ontario in 2018, according to the Minister's Solicitor General, and the fire departments in Ontario responded to over 11,000 home fires. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in Ontario, and whereas 1 in every 5 homes fires start in the kitchen, with 52% of the kitchen fires resulting from unattended cooking. And whereas more than half of reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occur when the victims try to fight the fire themselves. And whereas the children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with the cooking than being burnt in the cooking fire. Whereas Edwardsburg Cardinal residents should stay in the kitchen when frying food on the stovetop. Keep the 3-foot kid-free zone around cooking areas and keep anything that can catch fire away from the stovetops. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported homes fires in half. And whereas the Edwardsburg Cardinal first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention, protection, and education. And whereas the Edwardsburg Cardinal residents are responsive in the public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas in the 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, serve up fire safety in the kitchen, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert, to use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of the kitchen fire. Now therefore, the resolve that the Council and Corporation of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal does hereby proclaim October 4th and 10th, 2020 as a Fire Prevention Week, and urge all residents of the Edwardsburg Cardinal to participate by checking their kitchens for fire hazards using safe cooking practice during Fire Prevention Week 2020, and support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Edwardsburg Cardinal Fire and Emergency Service.
Very good, thank you very much, Councillor. Now, discussion if any? Hearing none, about to call the question, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. And I'm assuming that there will be suitable advertisement and promotion of Fire Prevention Safety Week, or Fire Safety Prevention Week. Mr. Chief, would you like to say anything about that?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. For this week's Fire Prevention Week, what we've done, because we try to get our officers to do a pre-plan once a year. With the pandemic, it's not really the best time to be going into buildings and stuff, so what we've done is have them take a crew out during Fire Prevention Week. So during the week, there'll be 6 crews at different locations throughout the township promoting fire safety. We'll be doing daily posts on social media. We'll be at South Edwardsburg School for an inspection and fire drill, and also a fire drill at 33 Bennett Street during Fire Prevention Week.
Now, where's 33 Bennett Street? Is that here?
That's here, yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, and we appreciate your efforts in promoting fire prevention, Fire Safety Prevention Week. And so now I'm turning to 8K, which is an RFP award, accessible website redesign. Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the Municipal Council, 1, award the accessible website redesign and township mobile app development project to E-Solutions Group, the lowest bidder at the quoted price of $39,150 plus non-rebate HST. 2, fund the full cost of the project and the 2020 and 2021 annual support fees from the Modernization Fund.
much, Counselor. And discussion, if any? Hearing none, about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And, Mr. CAO, if you would, please, I was kind of surprised at the number of responses that you had here. Do you want to just say something about that?
Mr. Mayor, I will turn that over to the clerk. She was sort of the lead in this project, so Rebecca, if you would.
Sure. Through the chair, we had technically 7 responses. Through the review process by senior management staff, we did read out 1 response because it did not fulfill the full requirements of the RFP. It was definitely lacking in certain areas of their proposal. However, we did receive very fulsome reports from the other 6. More than actually I expected. A lot of the places that I've spoken with that are doing the same process as us. Specifically for the website redesign, they were getting 3 and 4 responses. I think it was because of the amount of detail we actually reviewed and included in our RFP that we did receive so many responses. As you can see, we are recommending eSolutions Group as they service over 360 municipalities in Ontario and provide us with 360 preferences to go by, so it's pretty hard to beat that for popularity's sake
For reference.
and references, so we'll see how it goes. And they have a whole team that specifically focus on AODA compliance, as well as they have a team that's now dedicated to mobile app development.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your work on that project. I think that's a pretty wholesome way of going about the fulfillment of an RFP, an RFQ. So I did call the question and it was carried. And I'm going to move now on to item 8L, which is the Prescott Automatic Aid Agreement. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps that Municipal Council agrees in principle with the financial formula proposed and directs staff to proceed with finalizing and the automatic aid agreement with the town of Prescott.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there any discussion on this item? And hearing none.
Yes, there is. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. You caught me off guard there, but I do have some questions.
Go ahead, please.
Through the chair to I guess the chief. According to the briefing note that I'm looking at, now I guess since approximately 92 or 94, whatever, we've been going along by paying approximately $13,000 per year. Might go up to $14,000, which it did in 18 and 19. However, the new payment now is going to be double that, in fact over double that. Now I can follow the chart, and the question I have is the MTO payment total. Is that what's paid to us for in those years that it's showing? Or is that what's paid to Prescott or Augusta and or the group? So I'd like to know what those figures are on the MTO payment total.
Certainly. Through the chair, the MTO payment total would be the total amount that we would pay Prescott on top of the base rate if we had used this formula in the past 5 years.
Okay, thank you for that. And so what if we don't get paid?
No, it got nothing to do with.
It has nothing to do with,
This
well,
is-
what does it have to do with then?
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, what we are looking at utilizing on a per call basis, over and above the base rate, is the similar MTO rates that are in place for the 400 series calls. So these would be the non-400 series calls that we would be reimbursing Prescott at those rates.
Okay, but my question, it still is, we would have been paid as well from MTO?
No, we're only paid from MTO on 400 series responses where an approved service is performed.
So, jumping in here, the purpose of this agreement is to recompense Prescott for providing service in our township, not on 401-416. So they are first responders as far east as Johnstown, I think, to calls as far east as Johnstown. They respond with their equipment as first responders. So we pay them, according to this agreement, we would be paying them a base rate per year plus so much per truck, or so much per vehicle that attends at our fire when they respond to our fire. All we're doing is using the MTO rates as a basis for how much we pay them.
All right, I'm okay, I do follow that totally, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Just comment, if I may.
Yes.
I just wanted to compliment the chief and the CAO, both of ours, obviously, and as well recognize Matt and Barry from Prescott for putting together what seems like a great agreement for everyone. I'm sure it took a little effort, and we want to, make sure that we thank you and we respect that effort. Well done.
One follow-up.
Steve, go ahead.
Yes, do we ever respond to Prescott? In other words, they're coming in, we know where they're coming to, we utilize them to come to our township. Do we ever go and assist them?
Yes.
You go ahead, chief.
Through the chair, if they call us for a mutual aid assistance, then we do respond to assist Prescott, yes.
So are we subject then to getting paid from them for those services as well?
So if I may, if you look on the base payment breakdown,
Yes,
so what we have worked in is a percentage of use that we would be providing tankers for coverage north of the 401 where they don't have hydrants. So that portion is sort of an offset that was worked into that base rate to cover any of our responses that we may.
so it's 12% or 5%, but it would just, whatever the piece of equipment happens to be. Yes, I can follow that. It just seems to me that doubling our payment, it just, well, to be quite truthful, it doesn't sit well, but, okay, thank you.
Well, and they say that that's the definition of a good agreement, where neither party is completely satisfied. And, but at the same time, I think if we just refer to their ladder truck, I think their ladder truck has been used on, if I recall correctly, and I could be wrong, their ladder truck, it's $1 million piece of equipment, according to this briefing note that we have in front of us.
The aerial, yes.
The aerial
Yes.
truck. Their aerial truck has been used on 3 fires that I know about, and all 3 of those fires have been in Edwardsburg Cardinal Township. So we're gaining good access to an expensive piece of equipment at a relatively
Yes.
modest cost. I mean, nothing is perfect, but that's the definition of a good agreement. No party is completely happy.
With that being said, though, I will support the recommendation.
Thank you very much. If there's no further discussion, I'm about to call the question on the motion before the table. Anybody want to hear the motion reheard? Hearing no requesting, I'm going to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And so now I'm on the 8M, which is the David Street severances, a revised recommendation. Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Dishaft. Municipal Council, 1, remove the following conditions on severance of B 4320, 4420, 4520, and 4820 Mulder. That the applicant constructs a 6-foot, 1.83 meter high fence along both sides and rear yard property lines, and be replaced with the applicant constructs a 6-foot, 18.3 meter high fence along the east side and rear north yard property lines. 2, direct staff to notify the United Counties of Legion Grenville of the amendment to execute the requirement for a fence on the west side of the property between 32 and 34, should have been exclude the requirements of the fence on the west side of the property between 32 and 34 Davis Street.
Yeah, exclude the requirement for a fence on the west side of the property. Right. Okay, so further discussion on this, Counselor?
Yes, just a question. So, it was originally thought we were gonna put a wood fence up, and then that has changed. So we're going to leave one fence up, which is a chain link fence, I do believe.
The lady at 34
Yes,
owns it.
yes. Now, then on the other side, is there going to be a fence built or erected?
So,
Yeah, the east
yes,
side.
on the east side, there will be that 6-foot wooden fence on the east side.
Okay, now, unless the fencing laws, rules have changed, I'm under the impression that from the front of the property to the property line has to be a 4-foot fence. Am I correct in that?
So, through the mayor, side yard, with respect to fence typically, relates to where the building is back to the rear property line. Anything in front of the building would be considered front.
Okay, I
it-
understand.
Yeah, so that fence will only go to the building.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, just to the front of the building?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
all right.
thank you for that. No other questions, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Okay, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. And then we're down at 8N, which is the letter of comfort for Mega Holdings, Inc., Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter. Whereas Municipal Council passed resolution number 2020-321 during the regular meeting of council held on August 24th, 2020, to authorize and direct the mayor to provide Mr. Ramesh Sarna, Mega Holdings Incorporated, with a letter of comfort indicating council's willingness to stop up, close, and convey certain road allowance acreage dependent on certain terms and conditions to be approved by municipal council and reviewed by legal counsel. And whereas staff was directed during the September 14th committee of the whole meeting to prepare a draft letter of comfort, which has been reviewed by the township solicitor. Now therefore be it resolved that municipal council receives and approves the letter of comfort to be provided to Mr. Ramesh Sarna, Mega Holdings Incorporated.
Okay, thank you very much, and I believe that council members have the letter in front of them. It was in the package, in your packages, but not the public package.
Just quite complete.
And you can see the direction that this is going. And with the approval of this motion, if it passes, we'll get that letter to Mr. Sarna tomorrow or the next day. So is there any further discussion on this item?
Just on the bottom of the yours truly.
Yes?
There's a spelling, like we spell Cardinal wrong. I'm sure we'll catch that,
Yeah.
but.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We'll get it. And it'll be over the signature of the mayor as well. All right, and no further questions. I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried, thank you. All right, so now I'm at item number 9 on the agenda, which is the various pieces of correspondence. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cameron, that the Municipality Council receives correspondence listings to the following dates as previously circulated. August 28th, September 11th, September 17th, September 24th, 2020.
And we've had 4 big packages, lots of stuff in those packages. And this is receiving the correspondence. Those in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried. And so now I'm moving forward then to the approval of the disbursement sheets. And bear with me for 1 second here. The first, Councillor Cameron, you have that motion.
I do, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor that municipal council approves the payments of municipal invoices circulated and dated as follows. Report dated September 1st, 2020-96, $156,481.60. Report dated September 16th, 2020-99, $141,715.82. Report dated September 18th, 2020-101, $100,576.80. Report dated September 24th, 2020-102, $1,635,696.25. Total of $2,034,470.47.
Okay, so the motion is on the table. Discussion if any, questions if any?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do, and I want to start off by apologizing that I was not able to contact the treasurer today, so I'm just going to ask some general questions. Hopefully, the CAO can give me some guidance on these. The Spencerville well charges, which are going to amount to a considerable amount over a period of time, will those be earmarked for, and I just want to know if they're going to be earmarked as a total that was spent regarding the well issues that we have. So in some future time, if I was to ask either yourself or the treasurer, how much did the well situation cost us, would I be able to get an accurate answer?
So through the mayor, we will be tracking those expenses, and a report certainly will be back to council.
Thank you, that's all I have for that. Now, on page, and again, this is just for staff's information, on page 152, there's a price for masks, and then there's on 155, there's a price for masks. One of the prices is over $2,000, and the other one is $605. And I was just wondering why the difference in the amount. The first one is for the library, so I just, or it's, at least it's billed to the library. I'm just curious that why would they use probably that many more masks than I think the fire department would?
So through the mayor, just want to clarify that you're referring to on page 152, the blue face mask library.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have those exact answers. I just want to mark those locations so that I can do some follow-up.
If you would, that would be fine, Mr. CAO.
And 155 was,
I believe, for the fire department.
Where is this? What's the reference there?
Page one, well, okay, I'm sorry, I
50257? Is that the 604?
604, that's correct.
Fire department, maybe the chief knows the answer to that one. But obviously the number would be less.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I can't see the library using that much more.
I can't speak for what this was, but from what we've bought, from the beginning when we went back in June to what we buy now, is the ones we buy now are less than half price, because there's so many more being made and there's so much, so much easier to get. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but we were paying a heck of a lot more in June than we are now.
And it might, I don't know, but I've given the CAO the information, and he's indicated he's going to follow up on that. And another one that I had was also on page 152, and it was called, one of the, I believe, the mower people, the grass cutting people, and it was for land for sale, $406. And I was just curious if that was the Spencerville, South Street property.
Through the mayor, that is correct. That is the South Street property. The cutting company was a little late in submitting their invoices, so we had been cutting that property periodically until the sale.
Oh, it was more than one cut then?
It certainly was more than one cut.
Okay, thank you. And my last question, and then I'll take the rest up with the treasurer at another time, is regarding the fire department again and public works.
Page?
Yes, page 148, regarding weather app. For weather app, $6,752 and change for one app. And then on page 157, for another weather app, $508. I'm just curious about the mechanics of those two.
Was it 157, the second?
Yes, the second one is 157.
Where is it on
I think it's
157?
close to the bottom of the page.
Whether, it looks like two different companies.
It is, yes. Yeah. Probably two different systems.
Who's 1894 Ontario Link? Do we know?
Sorry, I'm just looking for the, there's 157?
Yes, 157.
Can't.
Oh, 508? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So the one on 157 is I believe that is a monthly charge for one of the programs, and the 1894 Inc. Weather App is an annual fee.
Okay.
1894, where's the 1894?
That's on page 148.
That's the first one.
Yeah, but what I will do is just, I'll clarify that the exact, applications, they're slightly different, applications. So I'll clarify that and get back to council on those.
That'll be fine, Mr. CIO, and just my very final question is, on page 149, service equipment, I see truck 5 is just hit us with another $12,000 bill. I know one of them was an inspection.
Page 149, what's the reference?
Service?
Oh, service.
Service
Yep.
equipment?
Truck 5,
Yeah.
$2,800.
No, there's $12,000 worth of work done there.
Oh, I have to add 3 or 4 numbers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's 8 plus 2 plus 800.
8,000.
8,000 plus 2,000 plus 800.
Yeah.
Is truck 5, which one was truck 5? I forget which one it was.
Truck 5 is a tandem axle.
Okay, so I'm getting the trucks mixed up in my head.
Is
Still
there,
seems like a
is
lot
there a
of money.
reason why an inspection on that particular truck costs $8,000? Where I know our fire department is getting them done for about $1,500 on fire trucks.
So through the mayor, it's the annual MTO inspection. It is a little bit more thorough, but I don't have all those exact details on what was required with that inspection.
Thank you.
Again, that comes down to the detail on the invoice. And even though it is an annual inspection, when you take 8,000 plus 2,000, it's actually 8,800 plus 2,800. You know, and the two invoices are, I'm just looking at the two invoices, 73.44 and 74.76. So the invoices are not that far apart. Man, that seems like a lot of money for an annual inspection if we're supposed to be doing preventative maintenance as we go. Just make that comment. Are you finished, Counselor?
I am, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Because I have another question on page 157 for the CAO. So the third item from the bottom, when we were talking about the weather app, as curious as I am about the amount and the reason, I'm even more curious, would you pronounce the name of that company?
Mr. Mayor, I will not attempt to pronounce that name. I would just, it would be incorrect and therefore embarrassing myself.
Thank you very much.
I wonder how they answer the phones every day.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I still have in front of me the motion to approve the municipal payments. If there are no further questions or discussion on the disbursement sheets, I'm about to call the question on the motion on the table. Those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. And so now I'm at item number 11, which is the bylaws, and we have none this evening. And so I'm moving to item number 12, which is the CAO's administrative report. And so, Mr. CAO, I'll let you highlight your report and then come back to whatever questions may arise therefrom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start off just with senior management team, just working on the first draft of the 2021 capital and working on updating the COVID-19 contingency plan with relation to staff. This was one of the items that was brought up at the Public Works Environmental Services Facilities meeting last Monday. Just want to highlight the Digital Service Squad program was launched, and Friday there were some dignitaries present at the clock tower in Spencerville to give a formal launch, and the mayor slash warden was there to give a speech as well. Under building, we have 135 building permits issued in 2020. This is certainly higher than 2019 and trending for right now what hopefully will be a good revenue year. Under bylaw, just wanted to update that many cases are awaiting court appearances. Everything seems to be in limbo in relation to the COVID-19 restrictions that are delaying first appearances in the court. With respect to upcoming meeting schedule, just wanted to note that on Monday, October 19th at 6 p.m. Will be the public meeting date for the zoning bylaw amendment with respect to 1019 Hyman Road. We will do that at 6 p.m. in advance of the 6:30 Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities. My apologies for missing that on the initial update.
Excuse me, that is the 19th?
That is the 19th, Monday the 19th.
So it's a 6 p.m. start.
Correct.
Thank you.
Under Treasury, just advising you that staff is reviewing current fee schedules and bring back a draft schedule for review in the next coming months. Under Facilities and Recreation, as discussed at the Public Works Environmental Services Facilities meeting, with respect to advertising, letters were drafted and sent out late last week to all those advertisers. With respect to the ingredient center, the dehumidifier repairs have been completed and the system is up and running. Under operations, public works, roadside maintenance, some activities with respect to roadside mowing, ditching on Scott, Rooney, and Duclos roads, and doing the final preps for the asphalt patching program. Under environmental services, for the Cardinal wastewater treatment plant, and also the water plant semi-annual generator service has been completed. For the water treatment plant, we've also had the annual laboratory equipment calibrations performed by Hawk. In the Cardinal Distribution and Industrial Park, we've started the fall hydrant flushing program. And in the Cardinal Distribution System, Stellum has been in to repair 3 fire hydrants. With respect to the fire department, under training, driver training and license upgrades will be processed based on availability and resources, and 14 personnel completed the air brake endorsement in September. Also, as the mayor highlighted earlier, and certainly the fire department wanted to thank the mayor for coming and doing greetings at the start of the first Women's Firefighter Boot Camp on the 19th. 9 participants, and it appears that the day was very well run and well received by those participating and those doing the instruction. Just want to note with respect to Station 1, on Monday morning, Station 1 had lost power on Sunday with the transformer malfunction at the pole, and repairs were completed by Hydro 1 and power restored in a reasonable time frame. Under fire prevention, we've already noted with respect to Fire Prevention Week, the Serve Up fire safety in the kitchen, and materials have been received and will be distributed as according to the chief. And the last item with respect to emergency management, just wanted to indicate that amendment to the Ontario Regulation 3804 was amended to exempt the requirement for municipalities to conduct an annual emergency exercise in 2020. Dealing with the pandemic, they want the efforts to be placed in that area. And that will be just a few of the highlights.
So, questions or elaborations, Councillor Hunter, or Councillor Cameron?
Yes, I'd just like to ask regarding on page 162, under fleet, oil samples are now being taken on newer apparatus. The oil sample from pumper 1 found traces of coolant. A follow-up sample will be taken in 6 months. I'm somewhat disturbed at that because any traces of coolant can be a serious problem. But I guess the traces, I guess I'd just like to know what the synopsis of that is through the chair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll go to the chief.
Certainly. Yeah, so we started taking some oil samples for analysis on some of the trucks, and pumper 1 did come back. It's in the parts per million, in the single digits part per million that it was detected, so it's very, very low. I agree with you. It shouldn't be there, but talking to the service manager, since this is the first sample we've taken from the truck, we thought the best thing to do would be go 6 months, take another sample and see if we've got a trend. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it an anomaly? Most of these sampling and preventive things are best done with a history, so you have a baseline and you can notice changes. So that was the direction that we decided to go.
So so I'm just gonna jump in here. Do you dump the oil and start with fresh oil? You change the oil in the engine and then start with fresh oil for the next period of time?
Uh,
Or do you allow it to accumulate?
The sample that was taken as they drained it during its maintenance, so.
Oh, okay.
So it has
as they
fresh
drain
oil in it now,
Okay.
and we will resample in 6 months to see.
Counselor.
Who did the testing?
The sample was taken from Selleck Mechanical.
Yes.
The lab I sent it to, I think it's wear check, but I can't confirm that.
And is this piece of equipment got any warranty left? Is there any warranty on this?
No.
Okay, so we have a report from Selleck stating that. Okay, so we have record of it. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Deputy?
Excuse my ignorance to this, chief, but is it a max force engine as well?
It is not.
It's not. Okay.
And the pumper itself, I don't imagine would get a great number of hours in 6 months. The engine wouldn't get a great number of hours, would it?
You are correct. Hopefully not.
Yeah, that's right. It's just that 6 months, a lot of things can go wrong. But if it's in the single-digit parts per million, it's, yeah, that's relatively low. Other questions with the CAO's report? Councillor Hunter.
So, through the chair to our chief here, he seems to be getting all the questions tonight. Congratulate you on your great day for the ladies to try out for fire department. We see you have probably 4 applicants that are really interested in joining, and it says that you have further applications on file. What is the standings for these applications? Because looking at our contingencies of firefighters, it looks like Station 1 is pretty well filled to capacity. Seems to be the Cardinal Station 2 that's short. Are these applicants for the Cardinal Station, or are these more the ones wanting to join in the Spencerville one?
Through the chair, it's a mix. There are definitely some applications for Cardinal, but it is a mix.
Okay, I have a number of questions for the CAO, just various things that have come up. I'm trying to follow the email chain with African bronze honey. We're no closer to getting a public meeting for them. It doesn't appear that we're any closer to getting a public meeting. So my understanding is that African bronze honey application for a public meeting, for a zoning change and a site plan agreement, that comes back to CDC, does it not?
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. It should come back on October 5th, and then hopefully a full application, and hopefully at that time we can look to set a public meeting.
Okay, you're following that one?
I've talked to Wendy about it, and they've submitted a full application. It'll be reviewed on, I think it's the 5th, whatever that one is.
October 5th.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good one. A couple of other ones here, but just let this go for now. Okay, so I have a motion, I think I have a motion. No, I don't. Councillor Hunter, would you bring the motion
Myself,
forward?
second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council receive the CAO's administration reports presented.
Good, thank you very much. Those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. Okay, and now on that item number 13, which is council inquiries and notices of motion. Anything to come forward from council members along those lines? Hearing none. Vote to go on. And the next item on the agenda is the mayor's report. Don't have much to report, really. Still trying to get back in a mode where I can meet with some of the large businesses. I met recently with Clayton Jones because I wanted to really try to get a handle on where his application is for his Phase 4. He's going to require another site plan agreement amendment for Phase 4, which he tells me is imminent, but his holdup is his planners, and he can't seem to get, and I don't know what happens, because he has changed planners and consultants a number of times, and he did address that issue with us when he met with us last. And it just seems that he runs a very I'm gonna say this, that he runs a very sophisticated operation, and there are very few planners, consultants, and engineers that are actually knowledgeable about rail yards and how they function. And of course, that's his base business, and then all the other things go around that. So that's one thing that we're kind of watching. I did report to council, I think in an earlier meeting, that the CAO and I had a meeting by teleconference with Infrastructure Ontario on Monday, September the 21st at 1:30. And that was at their request, which I thought was interesting, because they were wanting to touch base with us about the job site challenge. They had some interesting observations, and I was glad to note that the senior officials now at Infrastructure Ontario have their foot in the door, so to speak, with the job site challenge and the review of the applications that presently taking place. So that was good information. And subsequent to that meeting, we did have a correspondence from Infrastructure Ontario indicating that they had an expression of interest from South Nation Conservation, who expressed an interest in acquiring some of our provincially significant, I should rephrase that, had an interest in acquiring some of the provincially significant wetlands that belong to the province in the area east of Highway 416 and north of Highway 401. There's quite a, if you check our zoning maps, there's quite a large area in there that is designated as a provincially significant wetland. I've talked to the CAO about that because I feel myself, on the basis of what Merrickville has experienced, that a lot of our mapping that we got from the MNR when we were doing our official plan as to our provincially significant wetlands, just as in Merrickville's case, that mapping came to us without a lot of scientific background behind it. And in the case of the Wolford Bog in Merrickville, the ministry has been forced to resubmit to Merrickville the 1985 mapping, which did have a scientific background to it for the Wolford Bog. And I was under the impression that we would all get the advantage of that 1985 mapping. It doesn't appear that that's the case. Mayor Struthers wasn't aware of that either. So there's a bit of an issue there. Where it particularly affects us is if we try to do anything with Rooney Road at any point in the future, we will get wound up pretty tight trying to revise a road that goes through a provincially significant wetland. So I think it's important that we try to deal with this up front before we're in a position where we have to actually re-engineer Rooney Road. That's just a quick one. The drinking water quality management system review that was supposed to take place on August the 24th was postponed, and Deputy Mayor Deschamps and I participated in that review this morning. And let us say again that the drinking water quality management system reveals, or our review of the system reveals, that the system is right up to optimum performance with, you know, no significant problems whatsoever throughout the review period. And then the last thing to report is that we still have continuing discussions with the legal counsel for Daly, and I'm still expecting that we will hear from those folks sometime, I keep saying it, in the near future. So that's my report, and I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Deschamps if you'd bring the motion forward.
I certainly will. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that Municipal Council receives the Mayor's report as presented.
Very good, and those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And so now, item number 15 is the question period. We have no one in the gallery to ask questions. And item number 16, we will be going into a closed session. I know the time now is 7:40. And so to go into a closed session, we need to pass the motion in the public session. And so Councillor Hunter, if you'd bring the motion forward.
And myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council proceed into closed session at 7:40 in order to address a matter pertaining to labor relations or employee negotiations, specifically QP negotiations and minutes of closed session dated August 24th, 2020.
Thank you very much. And those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion is carried, and we'll have a 5-minute break until our guest arrives, and then we'll reconvene in an in-camera session.
The council is now adjourned and open meeting does now resume at 9:32 p.m.
Steve, you can stay till midnight if you like.
You don't want me staying.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
So nice to see everybody again.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Thanks very much
Oh, my
for
pleasure.
making yourself available.
Spending time with you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, I'll call the question on that motion and call that motion carried. So that was the motion to come out of the closed session. And so now I'm gonna report out of the closed session. And Deputy Mayor, you have a motion to bring forward.
Yes, so moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council receives and approves the closed session minutes of August 24th, 2020.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And reporting further from the closed session, the council met in closed session with legal counsel, Mr. Steve Williams, to discuss QP negotiations and our approach there too, and provided direction to staff and Mr. Williams. And so now I'm going to just defer calling for the confirmatory bylaw for 1 minute until I just mention 2 other items. First of all, council is aware that we have engaged a consultant because of this Spencerville well water problem. And the consultant has a mandate. The mandate's been arranged with Mr. Grant, and we're hoping to have the report from that from that consultant within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Now, you're also aware that there's been a fair significant hue and cry from Spencerville, although you could say that it's confined to certain circles, for a public meeting. And most of that noise I'm prepared to ignore, except when very solid citizens approach me, and I did have such an approach on Friday. And the lady was very sincere. She said, I want you to know that I am not part of the conspiracy, I'm not part of all the meetings that are taking place, but we really need a public meeting because there's so much noise going around and so much misinformation that we need council and council's input to get to the basis of what's going on. Now, I explained to the lady that we have the consultant. When we have the consultant's report, we will be making it public. And that's our obligation to do that. Now, how we do it, I would like to do it by means of a public meeting as follows. I would like to do it that we get the report on whatever day we get it, and we don't hold that report for 1 day. We put it out in the public the same day that we get it. And one of the things I'd like council to think about is this. Ordinarily, a report like that would come to council first and would be received by council at a council meeting. And then it would be released to the public. If you have, and here's the question I'm going to ask you, don't want your answer tonight. If you have the report a day or so before the council meeting in October, and if you have a chance to look at it, and if you have a chance to talk to the CAO about it, would you be comfortable with having the public meeting at 5 o'clock, putting that report to the public at 5 o'clock with a consultant here to answer questions. Somebody else would run the meeting, perhaps even the consultant would run the meeting. And the consultant, that would be the public meeting, 5 till 6, 4:30 to 5, 4:30 till 6, something like that. Meeting ends at 6, public meeting ends at 6, we have our lunch, council meeting starts at 6:30, and the report gets received by council officially at that council meeting. Just asking the question, it's backwards, I want you to be aware of the fact it's backwards. Just putting that on the table, because we need time to strategize here. Last thing I want to do, before I call for the motion, I just want to thank Councillor Cameron for representing me at the tree planting ceremony on the 23rd. And I know that Councillor Dillabaugh was willing to go, Councillor Hunter was willing to go. They got uninvited because the numbers got shrunk, but Councillor Hunter did represent me. And because of the fact that we're trying to build these relationships with the First Nations, I thought it was really important that he make it known why I wasn't there. So thank you very much, and if you wanted to say a couple of words about how it was received, I'd appreciate that.
Well, I just want to say that there was additional minimum 25 that were cut from the program, because they could only have 25 there, and they had in excess of 50 already going to be there. Yes, it was quite a ceremony. It's going to, somewhere down the road, when everything is finalized with the area, it's going to be a healing and medicine area. I personally planted 6 trees in the circle, the medicine circle, and these trees are trees that are utilized every day in most Native lives for either healing or food or something. So that was quite interesting. The way they have it spread out. There's the center, the healing circle, and then the perimeter will have a various number of various trees, and they're actually planted in stages. For instance, the perimeter would be surrounded with cedar, because in the native culture, the cedar tree is the first tree to be utilized in any way, shape, or form. And then there's things like the birch tree and the poplar and so on. So this will be fully explained when this is all up and running. They had the native prayer, and it was struck by the gentleman from Haida Gray. They brought him in from British Columbia for this purpose. And if you were at the South Nation workshop that we attended, he was there as well. And he gave a little. He did the native prayer, which in the past we've heard from Henry Lickers. He gave that prayer. It was quite lengthy, as it always is, because it touches base with the animals and the trees and the sun and the moon and the forest and the water and all that. And now I did learn something, that the trees are lungs, the earth's lungs. That's what the trees are. And I think I knew a little bit about that, but it was nice to hear that. And they also had the pipe ceremony as well. That was interesting. I didn't get to partake in any puffing because of COVID. There was only 4 members that did that, but the music was quite impressive. And so, if you get a chance, County Road 22, just north of the Ventnor Road, on the west side, left-hand side going north. Stop by and see how it's coming along, and it will progress over a period of time. And they were most disappointed. Is the camera on? No. They were most disappointed that the mayor refused to show up, but that's not the case at all. Anyway, we had a a good turnout with the 25, and 265 trees, I believe, got planted.
Nice, that's awesome.
I did 6 of them. So,
Awesome.
anyway, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and so now, and thank you very much for going and representing me, and I'm looking forward to the confirmation bylaw. And
Before that, Mr. Mayor, if we're gonna have an open session for the water, will we have the health unit here too?
That's the plan. That's the plan. We'll have all, and I'm gonna try to get Ministry of the Environment,
Good.
although both of those are backing off. They're trying to separate themselves from this issue, but I think we can get them.
Okay, I'll read that now.
Yeah.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Cameron, that the bylaw to adopt, confirm, ratify matters dealt with by the resolution be now passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-55.
And those in favor of the confirmatory bylaw?
Aye.
Motion is carried, and Chair is looking for the motion to adjourn.
Yes, I have that, Mr. Mayor, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Hunter that municipal council does now adjourn at 9:42 p.m.
Those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you.